You can cure your inferiority complex. At least 95% of the people have their lives blighted by feelings of inferiority to some extent, and to millions, this same feeling of inferiority is a serious handicap to success and happiness. Every person on the face of the earth is inferior to some other persons or person. I know that I cannot beat Jack Nicklaus on the links, throw a football as straight as and far as any NFL pro quarterback, and the list goes on. Even though I have appeared as a speaker in front of a number of large audiences, I know there's a long list of people who are more polished and stylish and charismatic on the platform. I know this, but it does not induce feelings of inferiority within me and blight my life, simply because I do not compare myself unfavorably with them and do not feel that I'm no good merely because I cannot do certain things as skillfully or as well as they do. I also know that in certain areas, every person I meet, from the newsboy on the corner to the president of the bank, is superior to me in certain respects. But neither can any of these people repair a scarred face or do any number of other things as well as I. And I'm sure they do not feel inferior because of it. Feelings of inferiority originate not so much from facts or experiences, but from our conclusions regarding the facts and our evaluation of these experiences. For example, the fact is that I am an inferior golfer to Jack Nicklaus or Arnold Palmer. This does not, however, make me an inferior person. Arnold Palmer's inability to perform surgery makes him an inferior surgeon, but not an inferior person. It all depends on what and whose norms we measure ourselves by. So it's not knowledge of actual inferiority in skill or knowledge that gives us an inferiority complex and interferes with our living. It is the feeling of inferiority that does this. And this feeling of inferiority comes about for just one reason. We judge ourselves and measure ourselves not against our own norm or power, but against some other individual's norm. Right? When we do this, we always, without exception, come out second best. But because we think and believe and assume that we should measure up to some other person's norm, we feel miserable and second rate and conclude that there is something wrong with us. The next logical conclusion in this cockeyed reasoning process is to conclude that we are not worthy, that we do not deserve success and happiness, and that it would be out of place for us to fully express our own abilities and talents, whatever they might be, without apology or without feeling guilty about it. All this comes about because we have allowed ourselves to be hypnotized by the entirely erroneous idea that I should be like so and so, or I should be like everybody else. The fallacy of the second idea, that is, I should be like everybody else, can be readily seen through if analyzed, for in truth, there are no fixed standards common to everybody else. Everybody else is composed of individuals, no two of whom are alike. Neither a new nose or new shoes guarantees success. Consider the famous advertising campaign constructed around Michael Jordan with the slogan, I want to be like Mike. The blunt truth is that very few young men have the physical talent or the genetics to replicate Michael Jordan's performance, even if they replicated his remarkable discipline, commitment, work ethic, and a competitive spirit. If this ad campaign harmlessly sells shoes and clothing, so be it. For some, it will serve as a positive stimulus and motivation to strive to achieve, and that is constructive. For others, however, sadly, it will serve only to set up an impossible ideal to compare to, or worse, send young people away from the core to the circumference of being guaranteed disappointment when they discover that a new pair of shoes has no more magic than a new nose provided by my scalpel. The more mature, intelligent observer of Michael and of this ad campaign can choose not to be adversely hypnotized by it, but to be motivated by it and look past it more thoughtfully at the characteristics and behavior, other than innate exceptional physical talent, that have contributed most to Michael Jordan's success, that may be uncovered in oneself, strengthened, even emulated. It is even true that a basketball player less innately physically gifted than Jordan could replicate or even surpass his success in the sport, and do so in part thanks to Jordan as an inspiration. The person with an inferiority complex invariably compounds the error by striving for superiority. Her feelings spring from the false premise that she is inferior. From this false premise, a whole structure of logical thought and feeling is built. If she feels bad because she is inferior, the cure is to make herself as good as everybody else, and the way to feel really good is to make herself superior to them. This striving for superiority gets her into more trouble, causes more frustration, and sometimes brings about a neurosis where none existed before. She becomes more miserable than ever, and the harder she tries, the more miserable she becomes. So inferiority and superiority are reverse sides of the same coin. The cure lies in realizing that the coin itself is spurious. The truth about you is this: you are not inferior, you are not superior, you are simply you. You as a personality are not in competition with any other personality simply because there is not another person on the face of the earth like you or in your particular class. You are an individual, you are unique, you are not like any other person and can never become like any other person. You're not supposed to be like any other person, and no other person is supposed to be like you. God did not create a standard person and in some way label that person by saying this is it. He made every human being individual and unique, just as He made every snowflake individual and unique. God created short people and tall people, large people and small people, skinny people and fat people, black, yellow, red, and white people. He has never indicated any preference for anyone's size, shape, or color. Abraham Lincoln once said, God must have loved the common people, for He made so many of them. He was wrong. There is no common man, no standardized common pattern. Lincoln would have been nearer the truth had he said, God must have loved uncommon people, for He made so many of them. An inferiority complex and its accompanying deterioration in performance can be made to order in the psychological laboratory. All you need to do is to set up a norm or an average, then convince your subject he does not measure up. In my original book, I reported on a psychologist who wanted to find out how feelings of inferiority affected the ability to solve problems. He gave his students a set of routine tests, but then he solemnly announced that the average person could complete the test in about 1/5 the time it would really take. When in the course of the test a bell would ring, indicating that the average man's time was up, some of the brightest subjects became very jittery and incompetent indeed, thinking themselves to be morons. Imagine if you didn't know any better, being taken to the golf course for the first time, shown the basics of the game, and told that a new player hit 80. If you were convinced this was true, how would you feel at the conclusion of your first round of golf? Or imagine if you didn't know better, if you were to enter the insurance business convinced that the average new agent instantly began making $20,000 a month in commissions. How would you feel at the conclusion of the first month, then the second? Consider also the dangers of measuring yourself against a very unfair apples to oranges standard. For example, if I were to measure my worth as an author by comparing my book's number of copies sold to novelist Tom Clancy or Stephen King, I would be comparing apples to oranges, where nothing is common, right? So stop measuring yourself against their standards. You're not them. You can never measure up. Neither can they measure up to you and your abilities, nor should they. As you utilize PsychoCybernetics to communicate with your self-image, your objective should not be to feel superior to others, nor should you continue permitting feelings of inferiority to others. Your objective is to develop your own unique personality and accomplishments. How to use relaxation to dehypnotize yourself. So physical relaxation plays a key role in the dehypnotization process. Our currently held beliefs, whether good or bad, true or false, were formed without effort, with no sense of strain, and without the exercise of willpower. Our habits, whether good or bad, were formed in the same way. It follows that we must employ the same process in forming new beliefs or new habits, that is, in a relaxed condition. Physical relaxation, when practiced daily, brings about an accompanying mental relaxation and a relaxed attitude, which enables us to better consciously control our automatic mechanism. Physical relaxation also in itself has a powerful influence in dehypnotizing us from negative attitudes and reaction patterns. Now, this is a mental training exercise which you can do. So that is to be practiced for at least 30 minutes daily. Seat yourself comfortably in an easy chair or lie down on your back. Consciously let go the various muscle groups as much as possible without making too much of an effort of it. Just consciously pay attention to the various parts of your body and let go a little. You will find that you can always voluntarily relax to a certain degree. You can stop frowning and let your forehead relax. You can ease up a little on the tension in your jaws. You can let your hands, your arms, your shoulders, and your legs become a little more relaxed than they are. Spend about 5 minutes on this and then stop paying any attention to your muscles. This is as far as you are going to try to be going beyond conscious control. From here on, you will relax more and more by using your creative mechanism to automatically bring about a relaxed condition. So, in short, you are going to use goal pictures held in your imagination and let your automatic mechanism realize those goals for you. So, first mental picture is in your mind's eye, see yourself lying stretched out upon the bed. Form a picture of your legs as they would look if they were made of concrete. See yourself lying there with two very heavy concrete legs. See these very heavy concrete legs sinking far down into the mattress from their sheet's weight. Now picture your arms and hands as made of concrete. They also are very heavy and are sinking down into the bed and exerting tremendous pressure against the bed. In your mind's eye, see a friend come into the room and attempt to lift your heavy concrete legs. He takes hold of your feet and attempts to lift them, but they are too heavy for him. He cannot do it. Repeat this process with your arms, neck, etc., all your body parts. Mental picture 2. Your body is a big marionette doll. Your hands are tied loosely to your wrists by strings. Your forearm is connected loosely. Your forearm is connected loosely by a string to your upper arm. Your upper arm is connected very loosely by a string to your shoulder. Your feet calves, thighs are all connected together with a single string, like a big marionette doll. Your neck consists of one very limp string. The strings that control your jaw and hold your lips together have slackened and stretched to such an extent that your chin has dropped down loosely against your chest. All the various strings connecting the various parts of your body are loose and limp, and your body is just sprawled loosely across the bed. Then we have our mental picture 3. Many people will find this the most relaxing of all. Just go back in memory to some relaxing and pleasant scene from your past. There's always some time in everyone's life when he felt relaxed, at ease, and at peace with the world. Pick out your own relaxing picture from your past and call up detailed memory images. Yours may be a peaceful scene at a mountain lake where you went fishing. If so, pay particular attention to the little incidental things in the environment. Remember the quiet ripples on the water. What sounds were present? Did you hear the quiet rustling of the leaves? Maybe you remember sitting perfectly relaxed and somewhat drowsy before an open fireplace long ago. Did the logs crackle and spark? What other sights and sounds were present? Maybe you chose to remember relaxing in the sun on a beach. How did the sand feel against your body? Could you feel the warm, relaxing sun touching your body almost as a physical thing? Was there a breeze blowing? Were the gulls on the beach? The more of these incidental details you can remember and picture to yourself, the more successful you will be. Daily practice will bring these mental pictures and memories clearer and clearer. The effect of learning will also be cumulative. Practice will strengthen the tie-in between mental image and physical sensation. You will become more and more proficient in relaxation, and this in itself will be remembered in future practice sessions.